Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Professor Fabri, thank you very much for your kind invitation. It's really a pleasure and honor for me to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, so this is what I'm going to cover. I'm in a good position because I'm the fourth on our list, four speakers. So some of the item which is highlighted in my slides are already covered. So my first question is, if ranking is the answer, what was the question? What do we really want? This was partly covered by Dr. Moses Székely under the subheading of one of his slides. This was the main features of the best universities. So I don't want to repeat. But, you know, what do we want is a very important question. We would like to eliminate visibility, but this is what Dr. Székely Moses mentioned. So we want to be more visible. This is one of the main issue of my presentation is the visibility threshold. Or do we want more students, more good students, researchers, money? This was already presented by previous speakers, but probably we want too much. So we should prioritize what do we really want first. Of course, we would like to be on the position of the best universities, but how to achieve this position or how to go towards this position, because this would be very difficult. So here is just the general overview from 2020 Times Higher Education World University ranking. I'm using this Times Higher Education as an example. I do not think it's better or worse than other ranking system, but just using this as an example, it's very appropriate in my presentation. So as you see, we have 6 universities ranked in the first 1,000 in Hungary, 3 in Poland, 4 in Czech Republic, and no Slovak Republic. So this is what I meant by visibility threshold, because these universities are seen and recognized. And this is also from Moses Székely. He said, basic need is recognized ranking position. So this is where I'm going to go with my presentation. You know, this is just an example. Greece and Portugal, same size or at least comparable to Hungary in terms of the number of inhabitants, GDP per capita. But you see, in general, they have a double number of universities are seen or visible, which means that these universities are in the first 1,000. So probably this might be one potential goal to reach this level in the coming some years. Let's see some methodological consideration. I think it's very interesting because these rankings, at least what I know, these rankings were designed to measure, to rank the best university. It was presented by previous speakers by Anglo-Saxon universities, like the Times Higher Education. If you go from the top, you see the University of Oxford, and you can identify universities by position. So it's quite clear, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology is a number 5, University of Oxford is a number 1. So, and this is the second terminology around which I established this presentation, is the discrimination power. So this Times Higher Education can discriminate between University of Oxford and University of Massachusetts or Imperial College of London. The same, I don't want to show all, but if you know the position, you can link to the name of the university, which means that here, at least in this segment of this ranking, the discrimination power is 1. So you can identify universities by position. If you go to the website of the Times Higher Education, the pages means that I wanted to use some kind of measure. So, you know, pages means my screen. So it doesn't say too much, but if you compare, the message is clear. The first 200 universities can be identified one by name. So my assumption is this university ranking, Times Higher Education ranking, was established to identify, to discriminate, to recognize the best 200 universities in the world. I mean, of course, as we have learned already, only 1 to 3% of the universities rank. If you go further, you can see the position between 200 and 400, and you can see the universities who are in the best, who are in the 201 and 250, 251 to 300. So you can identify the position by 50. So which means that if we compare the discrimination power to the 1 by 1 discrimination, which was a 1, this is just 0.02. So, and if you go further, the discrimination power is just 0.01 between 401 and 600, and just half if you go to the segment of 600 and 1000, and the rest is under the, what if I may, I'd like to call it as a visibility threshold, which is in this case 1001, because the rest is under this threshold. So these universities are not visible, these universities are not seen. The position of these universities cannot be interlinked to the names of the university. So this seems to be, at least from far, at least probably from the point of view of the Times Higher Education, is a homogeneous mass. It's a homogeneous class. What we don't think is a homogeneous. So this is the visualization, but if we use the logarithmic visualization, my message is more clear. You see on the right side, if universities can be identified one by names, just the discrimination power is just 1, and the second part is by 50, the third one is by 100, and the fourth one by 200. You cannot identify the position, and then the rest is under the, I call it the visibility threshold of 2001. Why is it important? These topics were already highlighted by Professor Fabri and Dr. Seke, but let's see from the management point of view. Let's assume you were in the hypothetical ranking position of 1,900 some years ago. I cannot see my slide. Yeah, 2018. And you were able to reach a position of 1,100 in 2021. I think this is a fantastic production. You are great, you are effective. You improved by the opposition by 800. By 900. But what is the problem? The problem is that this is hypothetical. If you have a contractual relationship with the company of the Times Higher Education, you have the hypothetical position, but you cannot find this position on publicly available. So this is you are not seen because you are still in the category of 2001 plus. So you started as a position, hypothetical position, 1900. You did a great job. You achieved 1,100 within 3 years. I think it with the world class is the best, is a champion, but you are still in the same category under the visibility threshold. So this is a managerial problem. So we need a better measure to see and to recognize this fantastic change and improvement in position. So in the real world, you do not know your real position and you do not know how far you are from the visibility threshold. And this is one potential goal. And this was, as I'm clearly stated by Dr. Moses Seke, that just to eliminate invisibility. So this is, for me, this is one potential real doable goal, just to be visible, which means that we have to break the visibility threshold of 2001. Our assumption is that the 2001 plus, I mean the rest, the universities who are under this threshold, is not a homogeneous category. Or this is This is our everyday experience in Hungary and in other countries. There are big differences among universities. Some of them probably quite close to this visibility threshold, some of them probably quite far, which means that you need different governance, you need different management in order to improve, to break the visibility threshold. So, as I said, some universities might be close enough to this 1001 threshold, and some might be far in terms of time and resources needed to improve. Organizational culture and the level of university excellence is likely to be very different among the universities in the Visegrad countries. As I mentioned, different governance and management tools are needed, different educations, different motivation, depending on the level you are in. So the main message from this slide is we need to differentiate. We need a good, valid, reproducible, and discriminative power measure in the Visegrad countries. So, and because this is just a short presentation, my conclusions are, as you see, sound and comprehensive reforms underpinned by proper analysis and performance management tool is however still needed.